Test, test. Should be live. I'm on a little bit of a delay, but if you guys can hear me, please let me know in the chat. I'm looking over at my side monitor. I always tune into my own live streams so that I can make sure it's working. There we go. Yeah, just type something in the chat if you can hear me. And we'll wait like maybe 5 minutes before we really get started, just to give everybody time to trickle in. But if you're already here, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're seeing some sales trickle in for the fourth quarter. And if not, don't worry. We're going to talk some strategy today to try to fix that. So no worries if not. But there should be, you know, an increased sales volume. I'm going to show you some of my sales as well in this live stream that we got going on. Hey, Chris, glad you could make it. I love this StreamYard software. It lets me feel like I'm running a professional live stream here. I can like click the comments to show them as I go. It's pretty cool. It's crazy what you can do as like a one person show these days. We'll talk what platforms to prioritize. We'll talk Redbubble specifically I wanted to touch on today. We'll talk niches, and then we'll talk a little bit of design. Maybe I'll do like a design, like a you can look over my shoulder as we design type deal. Time permitting, we should have time. Hey, Kelly. Glad you could make it. Good morning. Hopefully this isn't too early for people that aren't on the East Coast. I just like to get my stuff that I have to do done in the mornings, you know, and then kind of see where the day takes me after that. I do have my office hours at 12 for my web development course that I teach at the university level. So that one I don't get to push back. It kind of has to go at 12. All right. Give like 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. Did any of you guys take advantage of the POD Turbo gear bubble sale that they're running, or the Merchant Former sale? Kelly, I do sleep honestly like 8 hours at least. It's one of those things I can't survive without 8 hours of sleep. It just does not work for my brain. But for those of you that didn't know, there is a decent deal. I guess I could touch on that really quickly. Like Merchant Former is running, and by the way, I don't think you have to have any of these tools. It's not like Amazon FBA, where I really think that a product research tool is a good investment for if you're going through the processes for the first time. Because with FBA, you have to pay ahead of time for those products, and you're on the hook for that money. And you want to, it makes sense if you're going to drop $1,000 or $2,000 on a product to spend $40 or $100, whatever you end up spending. I mean, obviously there's monthly plans or there's annual plans, but it makes sense to invest a little bit in the tools that'll help you and you don't guarantee success, but like help you increase the likelihood of not investing in a product that won't make you money. Whereas like with print on demand, it's like, you know, do we have to spend money on a tool? No, because we're not, if we're not doing things in the most optimal way, hopefully over time we'll continue to refine our approach and eventually get there. And as I teach in the course, like you don't have to ever spend money. Like there's ways of doing it using the free tools. Granted, if like DS Amazon Quick View started charging monthly, I'd probably say, all right, well, break down and pay for that, because that tool is just so good. The one that shows the bestseller rank in search results. All right, 11:05. Let's jump into things. Let me. Okay. me share my screen. All right, so real quick, just wanted to mention that, yeah, POD Turbo, I use them to automate uploads to Amazon Seller Central. I'm also looking at another tool that I know. Let me double check who was it that shared it. There is another tool. Sharonda had shared it yesterday, and it's called Mug Launch. And I am like helping them beta test it. So Mug Launch and POD Turbo are both similarly pretty expensive, if we're just being honest here. But with Mug Launch, it does not require paying the monthly Gear Bubble integration fees, because Mug Launch uses, I'm getting confused. I don't want to say the wrong thing. They use Custom Cat as their fulfillment partner, so you wouldn't need to pay the monthly fees for Gear Bubble. And again, they're both accomplishing the same thing at face value, which is they're helping you automate uploads to Amazon Seller Central, which is great. So you don't have to sit there all day doing it yourself. I did that for almost 2 years straight, pretty much 2 years straight, honestly. And it does get a little bit boring. So the automation's a great option. But yeah, before you invest in, the POD Turbo deal, sorry. POD Turbo deal is including, and it's through Gear Bubble, because Gear Bubble is the only production partner they support. But if you end up taking advantage of that, they give you lifetime Gear Bubble integrations for like $1,000, I think. I know that's pricey. I'm not saying you have to have this stuff. I mean, if I can do the manual pushes for 2 years, like, you can do it too. You can also just use Printful, which is completely free, and just do manual pushes. I was doing 2 pushes every 30 minutes or so. Now I don't feel like I have to be doing that, because POD Turbo is always pushing new products. I get 200 a day pushed. And I dropped a video on my YouTube channel earlier this week, and I showed, actually, why don't I just pull that up real quick? Where is it? I will share that really quickly right here. And, just kind of showed how I use POD Turbo and Gear Bubble to take a design and add it to various products like white coffee mugs, black coffee mugs, two-tone mugs, shot glasses, travel mugs, tumblers, which I misspelled, I just realized. Not here. And I always aim to make at least like $10 profit per sale, but these tumblers actually can command a higher price point and higher profit, so that's pretty cool. Camper mugs are coming, and pillowcases. So what I really just showed you is like the primary products that I think work well in conjunction with a design that's optimized for t-shirts, because as you guys know, I optimize for t-shirts, and then I just kind of let it trickle down. But Gear Bubble has quite a few good options that look really nice. And again, you can pretty much automate all these things at scale. Because you guys are in my print on demand course, by the way, like I'm always working on, like, in addition to just keeping stuff up to date, and I'm gonna redo a lot of the lecture content in the near future. I want to be able to say, oh yeah, refreshed in 2021. So I might wait until 2021, honestly. But in the near future, what I'm doing, and I'm gonna talk about this today, right now, is I'm really building out the Redbubble portion of the course. I'm actually gonna build it as a separate course, but because you guys are in the full print on demand course, you'll just get access. So that'll be taken care of. And that'll be ready in like a week probably. But also, like, I'm going to add a full tutorial for POD Turbo as well. Like, you guys are in my POD course, you're covered for life. So everything I add, you'll just get access to. In case you end up taking advantage of the POD Turbo. So you can see how I do these things at scale efficiently, because you can spend all day setting this stuff up, but it's not a requirement. You can get it done pretty easily. All right, so Merch Informer also, they normally charge like $60 a month, I think, if you do the month-to-month plan for Merch Informer Pro. They're right now, they have a deal for, I'll put a link in the chat too, in case you want to take advantage. Again, it's not required. I always want to say that it's not required, but I don't think anybody ever regretted using Merch Informer. Merch Informer deal ends October 31. Normally $60 a month, now 20 a month, save 20% with coupon code Ryan's method. All right, sorry, just type that out in the chat in case anybody wants to take advantage. So you can get it down to like, I think $16 a month for the Pro, which also includes access to their single upload interface for upload automation. Also, while we're on this subject, let me just mention, if those of you guys are waiting still for the Flying Upload free license or free account, I'm in constant contact with them, and he told me, I can look over at my Discord over here, but he told me like 2 days ago that he's going to have the accounts done this week, is what he said. So that's a quote straight from them. I didn't just kind of lie about the free flying upload. I got the spreadsheet for those of you guys that signed up, and I sent it over, and they should have those free accounts done within a couple of days. But also, if anybody missed the opportunity, shoot me an email, shoot me a message, and I will send them your information to see if they can get you a free flying upload license. I think it's for like 3 months. So just shoot me a message, email me, whatever you prefer, and I'll try to get you taken care of since they haven't gotten it done yet. By the way, all right, as we go through this, if you have any questions, just drop a comment and I'd be happy to answer. All right, so first thing I wanted to talk about is setting a priority with print on demand, especially at this time of year. Your time is money. So I'm not trying to tell you to like change how you go about living your life. Live your life, but also balance it with some business. And I sometimes struggle doing that. I can sometimes go all in with my business and then not, but then again, on the weekends, I'm pretty good about getting outside and enjoying time with friends and family and all that. But like during the week, there's nothing that really stops me from just kind of like 16 hours straight, with an hour break for exercise. Anyways, manual uploads. So if you're not using upload automation, you may sit here, stare at your screen and say, well, what do I do first? What do I prioritize? And in this case, you're going to want to prioritize based on earning potential. So the highest earning potential is going to be Merch by Amazon. That's what you're going to want to prioritize if you are in Merch by Amazon. If you're not, skip straight down to number 2 and number 3, which are pretty equal in my mind. Like when I was, I'm not on Etsy right now, but when I was seeing pretty much equal income from both Etsy and Amazon. And Amazon, I mean Seller Central. So you really want to make a habit of regularly uploading to both of those. And again, this is under the context of manual uploads. So if you're not automating, you definitely need to, at a minimum, try to be taking advantage of the first 3, because those first 3 will make you thousands of dollars of profit a month. And I can say that confidently because you guys know I publish my income reports each month. Go back and look. I was able to hit that $1,000 a month mark consistently on all 3 platforms. So it should be, I'm literally giving you everything that I know. And it may not be like, oh, I joined the course and I'll instantly see 1,000 a month. No, you build up to that point. But like when you get there, unless you give up, like it should maintain itself, And you can chase trends and crush it and make more than 1,000 a month, or you can just do evergreens and build your base and make a recurring base of around 1,000 a month I'd say pretty easily, speaking to my experience. And from there also, chase some trends as well. And then when you hit some, there's really big upside. You can go back to my August 2018 income report where I did pretty much, I think it was like just under $20,000 from print on demand profit, but I had a trend that I pretty much dominated for the first like 2 weeks of the month, and I dominated it on multiple platforms. So that's another thing. Like if you guys haven't watched the lectures on trends in the course, check them out. It's better to know this stuff ahead of time in case you do find yourself in a similar situation where you're really early to a big trend. Because if you don't act quickly, other people get in ahead of you, and that can be a huge, huge, huge difference. Literally the YouTube video I dropped last night talking about, it's the same thing that I've talked about, but so it should be familiar, but it's this concept of like, why do some products rank ahead of others? And it's almost always because the engineers who write these algorithms to figure out what ranks at the top of search, they prioritize products with sales history. You know what I mean? They're no dumbos. Like they know what they're doing. They're not going to just rank some product with a low click-through rate and a really bad conversion rate ahead of a product with a high click-through rate. And because I mean, keep in mind these algorithms, they're not determining like what's a good design, right? They don't know that. But what they do know is that when somebody sees, like they can track, I guess part of me being a web developer, like you can track what people see on a page when they scroll. And if they register your design as having been seen by the end user and not clicked, that's going to negatively impact your click-through rate. If they see it and they click it, that's going to positively impact the click-through rate. That's one part of the equation. The other part is, did you convert? What's your conversion rate when people get to your listing? All these things factor in together to determine like where you're going to rank. And that's in addition to like keywords and whatnot. You know, the keywords are another big thing that helps the algorithm determine where you should rank or if you should show up at all, you know. So prioritize Amazon merch. You know, if you have 5 uploads a day, 10 uploads a day, try to get those done. What I used to do is I would batch upload to Etsy all at once. Like I wouldn't upload to merch and then Etsy and then Seller Central. I would knock out the platforms all at once. So if it was a merch day, like I'm uploading to merch just like this. Then I move to Etsy and I block off an hour or 2 hours, however long I think I need. Because with Etsy, I never automated uploads there. It's a question I get a lot, and that's my answer is always consistent. I never automated uploads to Etsy. I don't think it's worth it. I think with Etsy, and we talked about this in the last live stream, like you want to make a really good primary thumbnail, which includes oftentimes like creating a little template and then magic wanding the white background off of the flat image mockups for your products and then overlaying it on the background and, you know, drop a drop shadow on there, maybe a stroke. I mean, I don't know if I do a stroke. You don't want it to look too fake, but you know, you can make a nice branded template that looks really nice for your primary thumbnail on Etsy. And then you're gonna have to manually upload that and swap it in. Also, you want to do your keywords as best as possible and your tags as best as possible. So you don't want to skip anything. You don't want to cut any corners there, especially when you pay per listing, you know. Amazon. So with Seller Central, you know, I've talked about in my course too. You can, this is something I think I talk about actually in a couple slides, a little strategy there, but like you can get away with uploading your same designs. Whoops, skip anything. You can get away with this slide right here. I just want to say this is a good tip for the fourth quarter right here. As a backup plan, you can take your designs that are already listed for sale through Amazon merch on t-shirts and also upload them for sale on t-shirts through the Printful integration, for instance, to your Seller Central account. It may seem counterintuitive, but like there is a historical precedence for merch by Amazon suppressing listings in the fourth quarter. And then the reason behind it is, you know, you can debate what it was. They don't always outright tell you. But it was noticeable that like they were running out of inventory. They're running out of stock of shirts in certain sizes, certain colors, etc. When that happens, you know, what do they say? It's like luck is when, I think the quote is like, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So if I flash huge numbers from my Seller Central t-shirts in the fourth quarter, and people are like, why'd you even upload them to Seller Central? You just got lucky that Amazon merch, you know, ran out of inventory. And it's like, dude, like, is it luck though? Or was it strategic? Like, did I know there was a chance? You know, these people are human at the end of the day. So it's not like, and plus like the scale, Amazon's reach. I mean, think about how many shirts they sell in a day and how many you have to print in a day. And they only have so many facilities and so many employees. So if you don't know what products to push to Seller Central, at a minimum, back up your merch t-shirts because they will live forever through Seller Central. In addition to that, as I talk about in the course, you can get strategic and sell things that are really easy to do, like embroidery products, because embroidery by nature has to be, it can't be super complicated. So you can do like text-based designs for embroidery or simple graphics, and it's like real easy to do. So that's worth mentioning. But then, you know, those are the top 3 that really matter. Redbubble is number 4. And I really don't think anybody should be skipping uploading to Redbubble because with the clone function where you create a template and then you clone it, there's just no excuse not to be uploading to Redbubble. it's almost criminal not to. I mean, I know Redbubble, it's hard to hit the big numbers because, again, it's a function of two things, right? Primarily two things: demand and competition, right? You guys knew that. Demand and competition. Redbubble is a low barrier of entry, so increased competition at a minimum. So even if demand is the same across the board, which it's not, Redbubble is definitely second to Etsy and Amazon, but it's like you have a little bit lower demand and then increased competition, so it's harder to hit the big numbers on Redbubble. I mean, I don't think I could ever guarantee you, like, if there was a course that was like $10,000 and they're like, but we'll make sure you get to the top of a really competitive niche. It's like nobody can ever guarantee you that. So all we can really do is everything possible within our what we control to do as good as possible. But anyways, I'm going to talk about Redbubble in a second. And TeePublic would be number 5, but TeePublic is like ambiguous for me. Like, me personally would probably skip manual uploads to TeePublic and just stick to the top 4. Like, rather than, it's like when you're uploading to TeePublic, you could also spend that time creating new designs, right? So it's like, I'd probably lean towards just creating new designs and just do TeePublic if you're going to automate uploads. Speaking of automated uploads, so I also put TeePublic on here. So I put it as number 5 on manual, number 1 on automated. This would be my priority for automated uploads. If you're using a tool like Flying Upload, like if you took advantage of the Merch Informer Pro discounted plan, you also get the single upload interface. You get access there. You would want to take advantage of all of these, Merch Titans, that whatever tool you want to use, like you want to definitely be running it daily. I batch out my designs in spreadsheets of 50 at a time. And I'm pretty sure you can use, if you follow my lecture in the course for, let me just show you real quick. Whoops, I keep clicking out of my live. In the course here, let me maximize. All the way in the bottom here, bonus material. We have some automation stuff all in the bonus section. Oh, I do have a POD turbo. Okay, good. Yeah, so I do have POD turbo here. And the lecture that you're going to pay most attention to, if you guys dip your toes in automation, is this lecture, cataloging your design data. Now, it's optimized for Merch Titans, but the stuff that I teach here in this lecture, which, by the way, always prioritize watching the video. Like, I try to include some written content, but the videos are really my priority as far as like maintaining and updating and all that. So I even give you a spreadsheet with like Excel formulas built in so that you can pretty much just put your primary keywords in one column and then they'll feed into everything else. So really, like, you can get away with the minimum here of all you have to do is like put your primary keywords in one column and then put your image paths in another column. And if you're not familiar with Excel, I'd do my best to demystify it for you in this this lecture, in this video. So it's a full walkthrough here. If you guys haven't made it to the bonus section yet, just know that this is here. If you're scared of Excel, don't worry. I used to be too, but it's just like life gets so much easier and so much better when you can get comfortable in Excel. I said life, not just print on demand, but like everything gets easier. So that's here in the course. And you can use what you learned from that lecture for any of the upload automation tools, which I'm planning on putting a tutorial in for all of them at some point. I'm kind of reworking how my courses are structured because I want to be able to like the Redbubble course that I'm talking about. Everybody watching this in the full print on demand course, you get access to everything. So you'll just get an email from me saying, hey, the Redbubble course is ready. It's going to replace the module in the print on demand course. So that way I don't have to try to maintain two different things that are similar. I'll just say, hey, enroll here for free. And you get the full Redbubble course. Whereas then I can also, like, for people that don't have the money to join the full course, they can join the Redbubble course if they're interested. And they just get that. So that's my plan. That's what I've been working on behind the scenes. And I'm excited for the Redbubble stuff. But yeah, all these, tier 3 markets is what I call them. You definitely do want to be uploading to if you have the ability to click 3 times and then it just runs in the background. Like, literally, it's like the first thing I do every morning. I run the upload automation to these platforms and then Merch by Amazon in parallel. And not just these. I mean, you can also do like Printful plus Wish, Printful plus Bonanza. The only thing is, like, I'm on both of them, and the sales that I get are so rare. It's like 1 or 2 a month. It's just not really worth it. So you can do that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's just, it doesn't need to be priority. All right, so we talked backup plan here. Your Seller Central account, keep in mind, like that is your ticket to sell on the world's #1 e-commerce marketplace. So don't be selling like IP infringing like listings and content. That's not a good long-term strategy, and you don't want to lose your Seller Central account because they're not going to give you a second one. But do take advantage of it because it lets you list products that will remain there for sale forever, for as long as Amazon's around and you're still around using the Seller Central account. So it's an incredible opportunity. All right, let's talk Redbubble real quick. So like I mentioned, I'm working on the full Redbubble course. I will notify everybody when it's ready, but it's just about ready. So one thing that I wanted to just touch on real quick, well, a couple things, I guess. So this is my demo Redbubble account. And first and foremost, let me just share a story. Was it 2 years ago or 3? I don't even remember. It was either 2 or 3 years ago. But I wasn't on Redbubble yet. And a friend, someone who's actually like crushing it from my Amazon merch course, but he was like the first person I enrolled in it. He was like, dude, get on Redbubble. You're missing out on all this extra money. And I was like, I didn't do it initially. I just kind of was like, oh, I'm too busy. Then he's like, no, seriously, get on Redbubble. He told me again. And I was like, all right, I'll get on Redbubble. And I sat there and I uploaded, I think 400 products manually in a day while watching Netflix. And it was like, you know, like I said, I have the ability to sit there for 12, 14, 16 hours a day if I really want to. Definitely not good for my lower back, but sometimes I just get in the zone and that's that. But anyways, I did that heading into the 4th quarter, right around right now. Like we're at the end of October. It was right around right now when I did that. And I just made a point of getting my entire catalog. Like I didn't get my entire catalog up in a day because they had a 400 product a day limit, which no one even knew existed because who does that? This was before you had the copy function. So you had to do everything manually. And I was only doing it on t-shirts, by the way. If I tried to do other products, it just wouldn't have worked. But over the course of like a week or 2, I had my full catalog of designs up on Redbubble. And then, I mean, I can go back through my income reports, but I mean, I'm sure I made at least like $1,000 that year just from being on Redbubble in the 4th quarter. And all it really took me was sitting down and making a point of doing it over that week or 2 span. So if you're not on Redbubble and you've been putting it off, what I'm really trying to say is don't be afraid of Redbubble. Please take advantage. And, you know, the content that's in the course right now is definitely enough to make you successful on Redbubble. But this lecture especially, I'm going to kind of touch on it. But also when you get access to the full course, it's going to be a lot more content. It's basically going to be all encompassing for Redbubble in case you just want to deep dive. But what I wanted to show you is you need to double check your listing template and or if you haven't created a listing template, let's do one right now. And I'm going to try to do this quickly because I don't want to spend the remaining 30 minutes here doing this. But you'll get the gist. Maybe we won't do the full thing. Maybe we'll just do a couple. So I'm going to upload a pre-made design. All right, let's take this design right here. And the template, title, tags, description does not matter. You know, you can just follow best practices here. But when we're creating our template, this is the one that we're going to clone every time we create a new listing. So it's very important that what I'm really trying to say is the title, the tags, the description, you'll be changing those out every time you come back in and clone it. So it's okay not to like, these don't matter. Everything else is what matters. So background color, I always optimize my designs for dark, almost always. So I'm setting my background color to the black hex code, which is 000000. Standard print clothing, you're going to hit edit. Now notice, do you see right here, it says 9 out of 12 enabled. We should enable all of them. So come to the checkbox here, check kids clothes, kids pullover, toddler pullover, and then kids clothes default, hit that. And the default here is white. Change that to black or whatever color you want, and then hit apply changes. And then as long as everything looks good here, which I'm going to change the default white to black. So setting this background color hex does not apply automatically to everything. It applies to most. But I change that to black and then apply changes. Perfect. By the way, when I set my template up, do you see this design that I used? It fills almost the full range of the design template. So when we upload to Redbubble, they don't force you to always upload at 4500 by 4500 by 5400. You always want to optimize your designs at the same dimensions. Otherwise, your template in Redbubble will render differently when you're uploading different dimension designs. So I'm always optimizing for Amazon merch standard dimensions, which is 4500 by 5400. That makes my life on Redbubble using their templates infinitely easier because they're all optimized for designs in that size. And the first design that I used for my template is pretty much occupying the full canvas, which helps me make sure that when I'm doing this, because remember, the template is meant to be cloned and it can be cloned to create another 50,000 listings. So it needs to be as good as possible to account for the dynamic nature of all the future listings we're going to create. Because when you clone this, all you do is you literally just replace the image and then you swap out the title, tags, and description. And the rest just kind of takes care of itself with these settings that we're doing right now. So large print clothing, you see it's already 3 out of 3 enabled. For the most part, they're all going to be 3 out of 3 enabled. So you're just going to have to set the color here and then apply changes. Good. Sleeveless tops, that needs to be edited. Let me zoom out just a little bit so we can see. All right, that looks good. Chiffon. I always forget how to say it. Chiffon. You can also use the center horizontally. Graphic t-shirt dresses. There's no shame, or, I mean, it may not seem optimized for a t-shirt dress, but like, why not, right? Why not just enable it? So we'll do that. Also, by the way, if you think it looks better, you can do this. Watch this. This is a pro little advanced strategy. Set your pattern to offset grid and then scale your image down. And it kind of creates like a pattern of your design repeating. And you can make it big, you can make it small, whatever you think looks best. All right. So this is a strategy we're going to be using when we create our template. Graphic t-shirts. I'm going to scale that down a little bit. By the way, with graphic t-shirts, again, you can do the pattern thing. I mean, the pattern, honestly, a lot of times does look better, I think. Although, if it's not a full all-over print, you may not want to. So, I don't know. It's really up to you. I might do no pattern here and just make it really big. Remember, too, make your designs big. If you put text on your designs, make sure people can read it from search results. If they can't read it from search results, it's going to be tough to get clicked. And if you don't get clicked, you can't make a sale. You guys know the drill. So the A-line dress, this is a true all-over print. So I like to do the pattern on the all-over prints. Stickers, magnets, already done. Phone cases and skins. I think the pattern is the way to go. Honestly, I just think it looks best. It looks more optimized. And it's also more forgiving when things don't line up perfectly. So, and you can decide if you want it to be 3 columns, 2 columns, 1 column, whatever. Phone wallets, probably do the same thing. Just repeat it. Pillows and totes, your choice. Do you want it to just be optimized like that, one design, or you can do the pattern, completely up to you. But definitely make sure that it fits on there, because by default you saw it didn't really. By the way, it says pillows and totes. Pretty random, right? But like, you can go here and notice that the all over print tote bag is right there. And actually, one thing worth, yeah, Chris said that pattern worked great for leggings, socks. Agree completely. And because this also, I can't see the tote bag right now. You'll be able to see it after you save it. But on the all over print tote, the pattern actually does look better. So I might change this actually, because I know that will make the totes more attractive. So I'll do that. Print cards, posters is already done for you. Pouches, laptop sleeves, etc. Do the pattern. Duvets, comforters, shower curtains. You have the option. I'm just going to leave it as is. Mugs. This is a little bit interesting. And when you get the full Redbubble course, you're going to want to pay attention to this one, because the way that mugs work, I'm just gonna briefly say this. The way that mugs work is a little bit weird. Like the mockups right now that we're seeing are not going to translate into the actual mockup that it generates when we save. So the way you do the mug is like you select the default view on the, well, you can do it however you want really, but like just make sure you double check the mugs is really what I want to say. The way that I had done it was you kind of make it look crappy here, but then the end result looks correct. So it's one of those things you really want to double check mugs. Travel mugs, do the pattern. Mini skirts might as well enable, and completely up to you, pattern or full rendering. Scarves done. Tablet cases and skins. Drawstring bag. Spiral notebooks. You can see it's not really optimized perfectly, so I'm just going to scale it down. Hardcover journals. This one you can, I wish you could duplicate it on either side. Oh yeah, you can. All right, perfect. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it like that. Clocks. This one actually looks good because my text is curved, but in the case that it's not curved, the text will extend outside of the clock. So I'm going to use the pattern, honestly, because it wouldn't work if the text wasn't curved. And remember, we're doing this at scale. Also, you can change things like the frame color and the hand color as well if you want to make changes to the template there. Artboard prints looks like it's just needs to be scaled down a touch. Acrylic blocks and coasters, perfect. Throw blankets, that looks good. Bath mats, definitely pattern that. Scale it down. Water bottles. This is kind of weird because it doesn't cover the full water bottle. So it's tough to feel like it looks really good in my opinion, but wood canvas and mounted prints, just going to scale it down just a little. Cotton tote bags looks good. Pin buttons, patterns don't really work on pins in my opinion. Also keep in mind, even though the text is curved here, if text wasn't curved, you have to make it fit. So I'm gonna make it smaller than it looks like it probably should. Masks, if I'm optimizing for t-shirts, the mask most likely needs a pattern because masks look good in landscape, not portrait. So we'll pattern this here. Aprons, your call on pattern or just one big design. Jigsaw puzzles, definitely pattern it. I mean, I've never sold a jigsaw puzzle, full disclosure, because as you would imagine, they don't necessarily look great with t-shirt designs on them. But and then the advanced products, leggings, like Chris said, the leggings look great if you do the patterns. So I think that looks pretty good. Socks, like Chris said, also, they can look really good with the patterns. Backpacks, your call. You don't have to do a pattern, but I'm going to. Duffel bags, same thing. And fitted masks, last but not least. Yes. There we go. Boom. All right. Now, a couple other things you want to just remember to do, like select your media, design, illustration, and digital art. Default product in your shop. I'm doing t-shirts because all my designs are optimized for t-shirts. So I'm going to set the default myself to t-shirts. Is this mature? No. Who can view? Public. If you set up your template and you don't want people to see it because it's your template, you still need to set this to public, because when you clone the template, if it's set to private, all your future ones will be set to private. So it needs to be set to public. And then just check this box and hit save work. And I skipped the title. So I'd rather be fishing. Save. Takes a minute or so. Then it should work. So what it's doing is it's generating the mockups. So it just takes a second. All right, check these out. This is what we just created. So look how nice these all look. And you can create designs or products that look this good now. Super, super fast and super simple. By the way, let's find those coffee mugs and see if this came out. Adam asked, how much time do you spend researching tags and titles, definitions for your designs? I mean, it's a trade-off, right? Like, because your time is money. So typically what I do is I would call this, well, here's the thing, like on Redbubble, I'd probably just call it what it says. I'd rather be fishing. And then they'll add the title or they'll add the product type. On Amazon, I'd probably say fishing lover gift, comma, I'd rather be fishing. So that Amazon's seeing it as both subsets of keywords, fishing lover gift and I'd rather be fishing, or like funny fishing lover gift, you know, so that you have a chance of being indexed. I mean, obviously those are hyper competitive keywords, but over time you want to climb the rankings on those. And then I'm not seeing your, oh, here it is. Ali asked, do you recommend using Merch Titans to upload to Seller Central? No. The reason why we use separate tools for that is because they need to build in a buffer between uploads. All right, so here's the mug. This one came out looking pretty good. What I always try to do is get that design centered. So what I would do is go back in, edit this, edit the mug layout where I placed the design, and try to get that looking like framed perfectly centered. Because again, your template, guys, if we clone this and upload 50,000 more listings, we want them all to look as pristine as possible. Okay. But yeah, like Merch Titans, no, I don't. They're going to keep expanding. I already talked to Curtis, the guy who owns Merch Titans, and I told him, I suggested it to him, but it's right now it's just going to go quickly, and then you're just going to get throttled in Seller Central. All right. So the whole purpose of us creating this template, guys, is now we can go to our managed portfolio and we can find our listing right here, and we click the gear and you click copy settings. You see that right here, copy settings. Click that. And it literally cloned everything with the design. And then we hit replace all images and we upload another demo design, your real designs. And even though it says hex color FFF, notice it applied the black hex color. So they just didn't match that up. But and then you'd say something like, on Redbubble, I'd probably just say, I love mountains. Redbubble seems to be more like direct about the specific keywords contained. Whereas Amazon's algorithm seems to be like, in my mind, at least, like able to learn. It just seems more, it seems like Amazon's algorithm to me seems like it has more machine learning in it than Redbubble's. Whereas like, I feel like Redbubble wants more of a specific exact string match. And plus like Redbubble is more competitive, again, lower barrier of entry. So, or at least relative to the pie, you know, the pie's bigger on Amazon, but there's probably more sellers, but Redbubble's pie relative to number of sellers. I don't know. This is just my personal thoughts. Tags. There is a Merch Titans Redbubble tag generator. And if you were to say like mountains, let me see if I'm logged in here. Nope. Logged in here. So on this free tag generator, which I include in the course, by the way, you can just hit get tags, and then this will spit out your tags for you. And if you need ideas of what to use for a title, I mean, this is also a great, easy way of getting ideas. Even though the Redbubble tags, even though in their blog reference for tags you can use, actually, no, it's not even in the blog. It's here. Look, they give you examples of tags. They say panda, comma, bear, comma, black and white. But when I studied the top selling listings, you almost never see phrases in tags. You almost always see individual words as tags. So I would recommend that. And then also here in Merch Titans, they give you the most popular tags. They come up with this list by doing a search on Redbubble, and then looking at counting the occurrences of tags. And these are the most commonly used tags. So this just gives you the list for free. Then all you have to do is hit this button, copy and format tags. And then this pop-up comes up, and then just select, 3 or 4 rows. Like the sweet spot for tags seems to be somewhere like 10 to 25. So if you select like 4 rows, I mean, I don't even want to count them. I would just do this. Notepad++, count the occurrences of commas, and it says 29. All right, so that's 29 tags. Then I'd bounce back over to Redbubble and then just copy paste. And then I've got all these tags associated with mountains done for me based on the bestsellers. How easy is that? And then it's already swapped the design in. So you see everything looks good. And then all we have to do is check that box, save work, done, same thing. What's the best approach for Seller Central? I mean, like I said, like I did it manually for 2 years. So I don't ever want to feel like I'm saying you have to go use automation tools. I don't feel right doing that. It's up to you. If I can do it for 2 years, like you can do it for sure. So, I mean, that didn't come off right, but like, you know what I mean? Like I was working 2 jobs. I was working as a web developer, so I was always at a computer. So that definitely made my life easier. But like, I just don't want you to think that you have to manually. This can be done in a more passive way if you choose, right? You just have to fork up the money for the tools. Is it the best approach right now in my mind to answer your question truthfully? Yeah, probably. Like I'm helping beta test the other tool. So I'll give you my opinion when I have a more formed opinion on it. But right now it does seem like POD Turbo is my favorite, but I also have put it this way too, just for reference. Like if you take advantage of the Gearbubble POD Turbo deal, you get lifetime integrations to Gearbubble, which I would never suggest paying monthly. To me, that's just a huge waste of money. I paid $2,000 for just the lifetime integrations to Gearbubble. So you're getting POD Turbo and lifetime integrations for $1,000. So as a function of me paying $2,000 for just one, you're getting both for half the price. So $1,000 is still a lot of money, but like at least you're getting a better deal than me. So, but I just wanted to show you guys that like with Redbubble, look how powerful the clone function is with the template. So if you guys haven't done this, please make sure you're doing it. It's criminal not to. And the tag generator just makes it even easier. All right, so I wanted to show that, by the way, if you have questions, keep them coming. I do have to hop off at 12. So we got like 11 minutes left. I just wanted to show that like sales, even though we're not done with October, like they have been jumping, at least for me. This is Amazon merch sales, but like my September versus October. Yeah, this is why, I mean, I hate talking about, you guys like, I do not like talking about Gearbubble. It's not, that's why I'm interested in the other integration, the custom cat and whatever it's called. What is that other one called? Mug Launch. So that is why I'm interested in the Mug Launch one, because I mean, there's no monthly costs for Mug Launch, and their mug costs are very competitive with Gearbubble. But I do like, I mean, just the way POD Turbo works is I'm really liking it, and I've got this workflow where I showed you guys the products. I'm able to make all these great looking products just using t-shirt designs, and it's working like brilliantly. All right, new niches. So I just want to touch on niches real quick. It seems like we are in a bit of a lull between Halloween not really selling anymore because the fulfillment times, even though it's still technically not Halloween, the time it takes to fulfill and ship the shirts are not really going to get them in time. So the Halloween stuff is not really selling anymore. But if you go do niche research, it's pretty much dominated by Halloween. And then, as we look forward to Thanksgiving, there's like this buffer time in between where your guess is as good as mine as like what the next best niches are. I mean, maybe there'll be like opportunity for political and election related shirts. But I mean, it's just kind of like when I'm doing my top 5 niches of the week research, this past week, I had to use like Redbubble trends just to find new ideas. Cause merch was looking like a clone of the week before. It didn't seem like there was really anything new. So Redbubble Trends tools, by the way, if I don't have that in the course right now, I can add a quick lecture just linking to them. But like I said, I'm going to give everybody access to the full Redbubble course very soon, and that'll have more robust content for that. All right, so this design real quick, I just wanted to show you guys, like, just because, guys, design is so important, not to like beat a dead horse here, but if your designs aren't good, you're not going to get sales straight up. I mean, you might get a sale, but like, you're leaving so much money on the table if your designs aren't good. So does that mean you have to have curved text? No, you don't even need to have curved text, but like the design as a whole, and there's various approaches you can take to designing. This is what I've been doing lately. So I'm only showing you what I've been doing. That's it. But this has been working very well for me, where I come on over here to, Photopea, hit new project, 4,500 by 5,400 dimensions. And by the way, I mean, what I typically do if I'm showing you what I actually do is more or less coming into Photoshop first. And then from Photoshop, I'll do everything here just because I like Photoshop more, even though they're basically the same. But Photoshop is a little bit faster because it's not built into a web browser. I do my design and I leave a spot for the variable text. I export it from Photoshop, pull it into here, and then I just add the text. And then I use Automate POD to scale it out to a couple hundred designs. So you guys know that I'm a big fan of all sunsets. By the way, you don't need all sunsets. Like something I never talk about outside of my courses is this website, Public Domain Vectors. So if you don't want to drop $27 on all sunsets, just use the stuff here. I mean, this stuff is free. You just have to modify it to use it for commercial use. There's tons of potential. Even if you don't have ideas for niches, you can literally just come here, take a graphic, take the globe, and then, it's called Constellation Globe. So why don't we just type in Constellation Globe here in the search merch tool? All right, no results. So maybe we just type in globe. And then you just get some ideas from here. Globe world map t-shirt. Just be so kind, terrestrial globe. Globe flag. Let's see. Do they have globe flag? See what I'm saying though? It's like we are looking at demand on Amazon here. And Earth Day every day. Like this is just giving you ideas of text to include with your globe graphic if you were going to use that. But you can even just honestly, you can also just look at like bulk scalable designs and just grab any sunset and just mix the text there. So the first thing I'd probably do is select the paint bucket tool, change the background to black just because I like to optimize for the dark shirts. Pick a sunset from here, or like even like this sunset has an airplane on it. So why don't we just drag and drop it in? All right, I might move it down, scale it down just a little bit, and leave some room for text above and below. So that looks like a hang glider if I am not incorrect in my keywords. So what we say, hang glider. Nope, it's not a hang glider. What kind of airplane is that? I don't know. I feel like you have to get the airplane right. Model airplane, maybe? Model airplane. Just trying to come up with some good keywords associated with that graphic. Yeah, I mean, that looks good. So it says, I fool around with models. Just one more model airplane, I promise. So what you can do, guys, if I'm just showing you how I go about this myself, and you don't have to do it my way. I've been doing this for 4 years now, so I'm at this point where it's like everything I want to do, I want to automate, scale, make it easy on myself so I can do other things with my time. You can also just do it manually. You don't have to use Automate POD to swap in the text variables. But I'm just saying that like what I might do personally is come over here and just take notes of what I'm seeing in the text here. So I might write like just one more model airplane, I promise. I fool around with models. Weekend forecast. RC planes and scattered parts. And then what I would do is feed this into a CSV file that I would then load into Automate POD, and it can just swap in and out the text above and below and download it for me, and I'll scale it out, you know, into however many designs I can build out from it. That's what I would personally do. But even if you just want to go about making one good looking design, because remember, we need to make sure our designs look good. So you can just use the all sunsets pre-made graphic or the public domain vectors pre-made graphic, and then select the text tool, create text. Hopefully it's not broken for some reason. Okay, it's not. For some reason, Photopea lately, it seems like once a week, the text like does not work. And then I have to just kind of do everything in Photoshop. All right, so a good font, I like League Gothic. If I am not sure about, like if I'm doing dynamic text and I don't know how wide it's going to be, League Gothic is good because it's very condensed but tall text that I think sells really well, I mean, at least in my opinion. I like to change it to always be uppercase, centered, maybe change the text color to match that red here. And move down this graphic. I don't know why it's giving me so much trouble when I try to move it. Merge layers. All right, there we go. Maybe make it, oops, maybe make it just a little bit smaller. So we could make one that says just one more. Just one more. Well, I guess you can always, you know, you should trademark search it, but just one more model airplane. Okay, we're good on the trademark front. Just one more. I'm going to duplicate this layer, move it down. I promise. Change the color of this text here to blue. By the way, this is just me being like, I think this looks good. If you disagree, no problem at all. There's other ways you can go about. By the way, also, if you add a stroke to the text, like it's up to you to determine whether or not it looks good. But this certainly will make it easier to add to different products in the future. So you may want to consider doing that. You know, like I just added a white stroke, because then you can sell it on a white t-shirt and the white stroke won't show against the white t-shirt, but then you can also sell it on black t-shirt and whatever. It'll also allow you to sell this against a red t-shirt, because then the red won't bleed into the red for the text. And the same thing with the teal blue won't bleed into the blue if you had a stroke. So that's just a thought there. And the last thing I'd probably do is duplicate this. Just one more model airplane. Maybe I make this smaller and find like a cursive font. They have a ton of fonts loaded into Photopea. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll turn off the all uppercase here. Model. This is just what I envisioned in my head. I mean, I'm definitely not the expert graphic designer, but I was looking for something like cursive I thought might look good overlaid on the airplane graphic there. Just one more model airplane. I'll probably change the text color to something else. Might change the stroke color. So you see what I did there? I mean, I'm not saying this is like the best design ever, but like this should be able to be read from thumbnails in search results. you know, like the text should be big enough. And then if we're on Etsy, for instance, like we can definitely zoom in on the design on the shirt to make sure it can be read. But like typically if you are using the full height and as close as you can to the full width of the canvas and you upload to somewhere like Redbubble or Amazon merch, like they'll make sure that it can be seen and read in the thumbnail because they know that that increases click. Like they already know. They know this. I mean, they have all the data for the millions of designs and tens of millions of sales. So just make sure that that your designs look good enough, you know, look good enough. Big bold text, make the text readable from the thumbnail. Use a good graphic regardless of where you get it from. I mean, if you can make them yourself, sure, that's great too. But I want everybody to succeed and have a really big fourth quarter. So like these basic design principles make a world of difference. And it seems like no matter how many times I say them, it's like sometimes like they get glossed over. So it's like you can't gloss. It's like you got to play the game. This is part of playing the game right here. Is like the design is such a huge portion and it doesn't need to be a complicated aspect. It should just be like a formula driven approach. Or I mean, it can be. Again, I'm sure some of you guys are way more creative than I am. So, but just know that if you're not, you know, this is what I've been doing basically. Except I don't really like how the stroke looks on that text. So honestly, in this case, I might just not add the stroke. But besides that, I mean, when I upload to platforms where I can control the colored shirts that they get sold on, I would just not choose red or blue, and it should look fine. All right, so I got to hop off, but any questions? Thank you for joining me, guys. I do appreciate you and your time. Any questions before I jump off? And if you think of one later, just drop a comment on the video or tag me on Facebook or email me or whatever. Put a comment on the lecture. I'll put the replay of this on the course as well so that it can be revisited. And also you'll hear from me soon regarding the Redbubble course so that everybody can get access to that and crush it on Redbubble this fourth quarter, because that's just money on the table if you don't take advantage of it. So definitely go in, get in there, take advantage. All right. Thanks for joining, Kelly. Appreciate it. And everybody else, Chris, Ali, anybody that wasn't in the comments, thank you for attending. And we'll do this again. I'm not 100% sure when, but we'll definitely do it again. All right, I'm going to jump off. Take care, guys.